a little bit more about, and again, the interesting disparity between the numbers that the defense didn't allow and some of the eye tests, especially early in that game. But first, I want to give you guys a chance to win some money.
It's time for your chance to win $100 and qualify for the $25,000 grand prize in our $25,000 signing bonus contest. Just text the following national keyword to 95819. Your national keyword to text is
spend. SPEND. You can spend some money that we give you just for texting spend. SPEND right now.
Text that national keyword to 95819. Standard text messaging rates may apply. Please don't text and drive. The $25,000 signing bonus contest on 107.5 The Game.
Chris, what'd you think?
I love just the instant. So I think kind of how you opened it is what I thought. Like it was a mix of some of what we thought and some of maybe like. Obviously, I did not. I think I picked 38-20. Was so the defensive performance played out kind of how I thought it would.
Okay,
where I expected Charlotte to go up and down the field a little bit, score maybe a couple early touchdowns or grab a late touchdown, but ultimately sputter out and kind of get overwhelmed. I think I expected Chris Reynolds to play well and do some things that showed that he's a 6-year guy who's very savvy, could throw from some different arm angles, and buy some time and make some plays. And we saw that, right? There may be a couple of defensive things in there that, maybe not quite as good as I anticipated. And then offensively, better than I thought it would be. I kind of leaned a little bit more conservative in picking how this game would go offensively, just because it was a little bit more in, prove it mode. You got to go out there and do it. Yeah, Charlotte's very bad defensively. South Carolina on paper should have been able to overwhelm them, and that is how it ended up playing out. So I thought, I know you guys were making the point last hour before we got here that Carolina kept it simple offensively, which I actually had as kind of a game key. Don't do too much, line up, run the ball, keep it simple. And that's what we saw. They ran pretty much ran counter and inside zone, didn't throw the ball down the field a lot, kept it simple, and they're able to overwhelm Charlotte as they should have.
Well, thanks for listening, Chris. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Wes, I know you were listening because it looks like not long after I mentioned Christian Beale-Smith making 2 awesome blocks down the field, like very quietly, a really good game. You tweeted it out. Didn't give me credit, but that's okay. But I know you were listening earlier. But in all seriousness, what did you think about the game Saturday?
Yeah, like Chris, I mean, I think in some ways it played out the way we thought. I'll say this, though. We went in kind of saying, all right, is the offense going to be able to execute even against what is a defense that has been very, very bad? And they obviously did. And I think, after we've kind of like bagged on the offense for a quarter of the season.
Deservedly so.
Yeah, and I'm not saying it's not deserved, but if we're going to do that, I think we need to give them some credit for going out and executing. And the offense, at least when the first team was in there, they scored every single time they had the football. And
Ty Kroger did not take the field.
So I think that's worth acknowledging and saying, all right, there's still things that are going to have to be improved. Like we talked about this beforehand. If they go out and just blow them out offensively, does it mean everything is fixed on that side of the ball? Obviously not. But, we didn't know if they would actually go do this either. So, I think we need to give some credit as far as that goes. And, I don't know if we can say they found their identity from a season big picture standpoint, but I think they went into this game with an identity. They knew what they wanted to do. They executed it. A little more under center off top, a little more 2 tight ends, and there are tight ends that are more kind of blocking based, I thought. And they gave the ball to one and let him go to work, which I thought was just really, really good to see and great for him as well.
Yeah, Preston said the best game plan he thought Marcus Satterfield had going into a game since Florida last year. I think that's fair.
And I just want to say, to reiterate that, if there was a game ball to go out for this game, I know Marshawn had a great one, but I would give it to Marcus Satterfield.
Yeah, kept it simple. Carolina trailing at 2 different points in the first half and still stuck with what was working offensively. I also thought that maybe one other thing that I learned, and again, it's a horrible defense, but Christian Beale Smith, who was, I think he was kind of expected to be an or with Marshawn, essentially, or kind of a 1B to his 1A, missed the first couple weeks of the season with injury. Not only ran the ball well, but the block that I mentioned just looked like he gave Carolina a different dimension a little bit offensively. So I expect to see him used a little bit more in the offense as it progresses, especially again if they want to stay big, if they want to run 22 and you've got a proven blocker and a bigger body in there with Christian to go with like a Stogner and a Bell or Atkins or whoever you're running. Like I think Carolina has some. I think maybe they gave themselves some looks to say, okay, maybe this is really what you can do running the football.
We didn't really learn. We talked about this going into the game, right? The only thing we'd really learn about the offense is if they struggled, that we would know that does not bode well for the rest of the season. So we still don't know. We don't know how effective they can be against Kentucky, Florida, Tennessee. We don't know yet. They've still got to go out and show that. But I do think we saw a few little things in there, and we did see maybe, I don't know if it's what this offense's identity, so to speak, is, but what it should be or what it could be. And that is they do need to find a way to take the pressure off having to go hit a 3rd and 12 or having Spencer Rattler go out there and be special and make a bunch of special throws in a game to keep pace. They need him to be able to do that. But I know Wes has said before the season, they need to give him something in the run game. So did they find something where even against Charlotte, you can go back and look and say, we did this pretty well. Let's go do this, against SC State. But can we go do this against Kentucky and the rest of the conference slate once the schedule hits? Maybe so in terms of just being able to have an effective run game, take some pressure off Spencer Rattler. And I do think, to your point, that CBS being back, being healthy, being able to be integrated in this offense, I think is a pretty important storyline because he's a different type of back than Marshawn. He can be a short yardage type of guy. He's a really good blocker. We saw that, the clip y'all were talking about where he's blocking guys downfield, but also just sitting in the pocket and blocking blitzers or helping chip defensive ends. That's something that the staff has been high on him because he did it so much at Wake and proved himself to be pretty good there.
Good performance. Did what they needed to do. Better than some people expected. Now you got to build on it. What does that mean? The one thing and the one big unanswered question, Carolina and the rest, after SEC, the rest of the games that they're going to play, 6 more SEC teams and Clemson. They're going to get off schedule in those games. And to me, that's been the biggest question for Marcus Satterfield. When he's had a good game plan and when it's worked from the jump, like the Florida game, like the North Carolina game, like this game, things have gone well. Makes sense because your game plan's working. It's when Carolina has gotten off schedule. Shane Beamer mentioned this. All the coaches have talked about this. When you get off schedule, what happens? But I wonder how much this was a game plan designed specifically for a smaller Charlotte team, West, that Carolina should have been able to push around. And how much do you think this was Marcus Satterfield saying, here's what we want to do. Let's rep it. And basically, no matter how it goes, we're just going to run until we've established the run.
Yeah, I think maybe a little bit of both, but I think a big part of it was just, that's what you could do against these guys. They've really struggled defensively throughout the year. They've struggled with missed tackles, I think. And, you kind of sit there and say, much like we were sitting there from the Carolina perspective, let's say the Arkansas game, how much of the missed tackles was, these Arkansas players are really good. How much of it is, the South Carolina defense struggling? I think with Charlotte, you look at it, you say, excuse me, this is Marshawn Lloyd kind of getting into a rhythm and actually kind of being able to go out there. I thought he ran with as accurate a vision as we have seen him since he got here. Like he kind of settled into the game. But then there were some missed tackles where, he just bullied their defenders that you probably don't do that against bigger, stronger SEC defenders. So I think you're not going to be able to have that specific game plan to where even if they were kind of off schedule and in a second and long, they knew they could just run the football and get it back. Mm-hmm. You can't necessarily do that against SEC teams, but maybe some variation of what we saw, like this sort of commitment to the run, but with a little more play action, a few more downfield throws, trying to, spread the field a little bit more vertically. I think we maybe saw part of the blueprint, but just saying, we're literally just, if everything goes wrong, we're just going to get back to the run. I don't think that necessarily works, but it was just kind of a glimpse of what they could want to do down the stretch.
Well, and I guess unfortunately, if you're a South Carolina fan, this weekend will not be the weekend where that's necessarily tested. You'll have to wait one more week probably to Kentucky to see just how much South Carolina has learned about itself, at least internally, in these last couple of weeks. But 803-404-6100, any thoughts that you have, reaction, or just anything that you feel like you learned about South Carolina as they beat Charlotte 56-20 on Saturday? Would love to hear from you guys in the Love Chevy phone line or in the text line, and all of us are available for you on Twitter at Pearson Fowler, at Coach B Tweets, at Wes Mitchell GC, and at GC Chris Clark. A little good, bad, the ugly. A few more thoughts on Carolina Charlotte next.
The early game, 6 to 9 a.m.
I think South Carolina is playing with heart and effort. Something, whether it's talent, whether it's coaching, whether it's strength and conditioning, something hasn't clicked for them to be able to line up and match the physical nature of Arkansas, and obviously the week before, being able to line up and move Georgia State around on the offensive line. But you're right. There's opportunities ahead for this team to continue to improve and get better.
The early game on your home of the Gamecocks. 107.5 The Game.
This is Damon Amendolara with your CBS Sports Minute. My goodness, Carson Wentz stinks. Wentz dropped back to pass 52 times yesterday, and his offense put up 6 points, and that was in garbage time. Stunk at the end in Philly, stunk at the end in Indy, stunk yesterday. Maybe Carson Wentz just stinks. This is Damon Amendolara.
CBS Sports Radio.
Football season is underway, so now is the perfect time to download FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, because right now, new customers get a no-sweat first bet up to $1,000. That's free bets back. If your first bet doesn't win, just sign up with the promo code WIN. FanDuel has all your favorite bets, from the money line to point spreads to player props. So sign up today with promo code WIN for your no-sweat first bet. Make every moment more this season with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL.
Must be present in state where lawful to wager. 21 plus in select states. First online real money wager only. Refund issue is non-withdrawable free bets that expire in 14 days. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Visit fanduel.com/RG. Colorado, Iowa, Michigan, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Illinois, Virginia. 1-800-NEXT-STEP or text NEXT-STEP to 53342. Arizona 1-800-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org/chat. Connecticut 1-800-9-WITH-IT. Indiana, Kansas 1-800-522-4700 or visit ksgamblinghelp.com. Louisiana 1-877-770-STOP. New York 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. Tennessee Redline 1-800-889-9789. Wyoming, West Virginia 1-800-522-4700 or visit 1-800-GAMBLER.net.
This football season and every football season, come to campus and catch a game. Whatever the game, whoever you're with, just catch a game. Find your tickets online at GamecocksOnline.com.
This is Stephen Nuttall. Since the day my dad and granddad opened Nuttall Tire in 1984, we have provided the best brands with superior service. And now, nearly 4 decades later, many families from day one still trust us to keep their vehicles in top shape. With an average 5-star rating on over 3,500 reviews, we are the answer for all of your automotive needs. From tires and brakes to complete engine repair. Stop by and see us at our new location at 3215 Two Notch Road, just 2.5 miles from our old location. Nuttall's, where my family takes pride in serving yours.
Realtors abide by a code of ethics. This is Article 9 in action. Beth, a first-time homebuyer, knew nothing about the home buying process, except that she wanted to buy a home. But her realtor had the expertise to make sure Beth understood every document, even giving her copies to review with her lawyer so Beth could close on her first home with confidence. Complicated things explained in simple terms. The difference between an agent and a realtor is real. Realtors are members of the National Association of Realtors. That's who we are.
Be game day ready all season long at NFLShop.com. NFL Shop is your #1 source for the top selection of officially licensed NFL gear. Head over to NFLShop.com today to browse styles from your favorite team and all the players you love. NFL Shop is your ultimate destination for jerseys, t-shirts, headwear, and more. Take your team pride to the next level with the best selection of NFL gear anywhere. To shop now, go to NFLShop.com.
Employee onboarding?
Automated.
Customer support?
Automated.
What if you could automate all your company's routine operation tasks and do it easily? Lead management?
Automated.
With Zapier, you can. Zapier is the leader in no-code automation. Connect over 5,000 apps, automate almost any workflow, and streamline your team's performance without hiring a developer and with no coding required. That's right. Zapier's templates make it simple for you to automate anything in minutes, no matter your level of expertise. Zapier eliminates routine tasks and frees your employees to focus on the bigger picture. And with Zapier's advanced security features and annual SOC 2 audits, your data is safe and secure. See why thousands of companies, including Slack, Salesforce, and HubSpot, trust Zapier to automate their businesses. Even complex tasks?
Automated with Zapier.
Try Zapier for free today at zapier.com/radio. That's zapier.com/radio. Zapier.com/radio.
Zero-Res Carpet and Air Duct Cleaning, the most trusted and reviewed cleaning company in town. Take advantage of their fall sale going on now. Get 3 rooms of carpet clean for only $119 when you mention me, Bill Gunner at 107.5 The Game. Easily schedule your cleaning online at ZeroResColumbia.com.
Broadcasting live from the Herndon Chevrolet Studios. This is 107.5 The Game. Stop by or shop online today and see why Herndon Chevrolet makes you smile.
It's the Gamecock Central Takeover Hour.
Presented by Firehouse Subs. Founded by firemen with Pearson Fowler,
Chris Clark, and Wes Mitchell
on the home of the Gamecocks.
107.5
The Game.
$11:18 Monday morning, and welcome back into the Gamecock Central Takeover Hour here on 107.5 The Game. Pearson, Preston, Wes, Chris here with you in the Herndon Chevy studios of 107.5 The Game, talking Carolina, Charlotte. South Carolina winning convincingly 56-20. What can we learn, if anything? We said last week it would be hard to know exactly what to take away from this game, but we'll still do our best here on a Reaction Monday. Before we get back into that, though, want to let you know that Integrated Media is one of the terrific sponsors of the Gamecock Central Hour.
Pearson, I know you said that your weekend, from a sports standpoint, was not great.
Terrible, in fact.
Yeah, you didn't have a lot of results that went your way, but you did watch those games, right? You followed them. You watched them. You had your tablet. You had your phone. You had your TVs. I'm sure you had multiple TV devices.
You know it.
All sorts of things going on. So you could keep up with all the action. There were a lot of really good games this weekend, and I was having trouble keeping them up because I was not at my house for those. If I was at my house, I would have easily been able to keep up because Integrated Media has been to my home. They can help you with your setup. Make sure that you can keep up this season with all the football action. You got other sports. If they do the annoying Aaron Judge cut-ins as he chases after the 7th highest home run total ever, and you maybe want to flip the channel or you want to have another TV going,
the shade.
Call the guys at Integrated Media, Michael and Nathan, those guys. Go to integratedmediainc.com. That's INC, integratedmediainc.com to see what they can do for you. Give them a call. Also, 803-948-8327. You can, if you go to their website at integratedmediainc.com, you can check out their email list. Sign up with your first and last name, your email, your birthday. You can receive their latest deals, offers, and tips. Whether you need internet, make sure your signal strength's good enough, wireless speakers, home security, anything that you need from an audio-visual tech standpoint in your home, give the guys at Integrated Media a call, 803-948-8327.
Real quick, text here. Says the great Hall of Famer, Mr. Preston Thorne, knows sports and could describe and explain ultimate perspectives on our football team better than anyone else because he is a former mighty fighting Gamecock football player who loves U of SC and great Gamecock Nation forever to thee. So I just wanted to pass that compliment on.
Oh, man, I appreciate that. Thank you.
What is your ultimate perspective on this football team right now?
I said aggressive shoulder strokes. I don't know how eloquent that was earlier.
That's good.
After that. Going back to our from last year, we said we were gathering data.
Mm-hmm.
Still gathering data. I would like to see them put together another dominating performance this week. Another dominating performance on offense with a similar game plan that we can sort of look and see like, okay, this is who this team is trying to be. Now let's see if that holds up against the rest of the year. But I would say overall, if I had to give a definitive answer, I'm not sure if this team is a good team yet, but there is some reason for some possible optimism.
Okay, so that's what I thought you were going to say. And now is the important question. We've sort of talked about this before. In the building, how much does reality matter?
Great question. As in reality of we just beat a team that was way inferior to us in talent, and we probably shouldn't be feeling this great. Is that what you're getting at?
Yeah, as in Shane Beamer, Marcus Satterfield, Clayton White, all the coaches. Hey, defense, look at that. You're right back to where you were last year, forcing these turnovers, 3 of them. Keep doing that. Hey, offense, he scored 56 points, 6 rushing touchdowns. We can do that every game. How much of a player's mental state is about the reality, and how much of it is you kind of pitching whatever future of the team?
It's all about pitching and selling. It's all about pitching and selling, and are they buying it? From what I hear from the players, it seems like they're almost direct mouthpieces of the coaches, whether that's real or not. I'm just going to assume that it is real and that they are buying what the coaches are selling them. So, yeah, that might be the pitch for them this week. Hey, we're back on track. This is what we're capable of. Let's continue this forward momentum. We got another opportunity to improve, get better, et cetera, before going into the heart of our schedule. Yeah. So that could be something that's being sold over there.
Like, momentum is a real thing in sports. Confidence is a real thing in sports. And I think football, it maybe doesn't get, like, baseball is such a confidence sport. Like, if you have confidence, you're going to go up there and you're going to hit the baseball. If you don't think you're going to go get a hit, you're not going to get a hit. People don't talk about it in football as much because I think it's more physical, maybe less mental on the surface.
No, it's exactly what that's what I was getting at, because largely football is not a skill sport. And I think a lot of times your skill sports is where those fine motor skills come into momentum. And if one little thing is off, everything can be off. Football, you can will your way towards success, but you have to be feeling sort of good about yourself in order to get that done. And if you don't feel good, then that extra play or that extra step you might not take. So I don't know whether that you feel better about that, but football is not largely a skill sport. So it really does probably boil down to more how you feel about yourselves and are you going to be able to do what you want to go out and do.
Yeah. It feels like this game might mean more to the people in the building right now than anybody else, including the fans who undoubtedly enjoyed watching Carolina score 56. But if you're the coaching staff, you're like, the last 3 weeks, I imagine it was hard to keep saying, trust the process, trust the process, trust the process, because you got trounced by Georgia and you got beaten pretty convincingly by Arkansas. Now you can at least say, trust the process.
I'll add to that. Also, it's good to be rewarded for your hard work.
Right.
And what makes football different than all those other sports is there's only 7 games left at this point. And so even if it's as fans, we may look at it as we're looking to Kentucky, we're looking towards whatever. There really are no throwaway games in football because you don't get very many opportunities. As cliche as it sounds, you only get 12 chances to put the uniform on and run out there in front of all those people. So the chances of you taking a game lightly or not celebrating a victory is a little bit less in football.
Right. 803-404-6100. Before we go out to the Love Chevy phone line, I want to remind you to join Tommy Moody and Justin Hall every Friday night from 9 a.m. until midnight for the High School Football Scoreboard Show. Scores, stats, and post-game interviews with coaches from all over the state. So if you are a fan of high school football, the High School Football Scoreboard Show here on 107.5 The Game every Friday from 9 to midnight with Tommy and Justin is the place to be. 803-404-6100. Jay is on the Love Chevy phone line and wants to talk about the game Saturday. What's up, Jay?
Hey, I wasn't able to watch the first half, but I did listen on the radio to Todd and Tommy, and I'm glad I wasn't able to watch it because I would have probably burned everything I had if I watched that first half. It just seems like to me a team like Charlotte coming in, you know, they're going to run the ball, and they were able to spread us out and just run the ball, and that's a real concern. I know we got a lot of injuries, but still, you would think the talent that we do have, we would be able to stop the run a lot easier. So that's a concern. But, you know, looking back at what the season's gone so far, we had an okay game against Georgia State. We really showed some fight at the end of the Arkansas game. Georgia, we didn't get off the bus, but, you know, it is what it is. You know, I still don't know what we are, but I still think we're trying to work on our scheme. But just one thing that kind of caught me, I think it was Tommy that said it on the call. You know, he said he didn't want to be negative, but he said at times he don't know what we're doing. That's a concern when someone who's got as much experience with football as Todd and Tommy don't seem to know what we're doing after watching as many games as they've seen so far. So let's continue to put another game together, working out some kinks, and get ready to play a pretty good SEC schedule. So thanks, guys.
All right, thanks for the call, Jay. I mean, Saturday, Well, I would say for most of the last 17 games, I think it's fair to say you don't know what the team was doing. I think, again, credit where credit's due. Marcus Satterfield and the offensive staff seemed to know exactly what they wanted to do from the word go Saturday. So I didn't. If those are your overarching feelings about the offense this year, I think that's still justified. But Saturday, they knew exactly what they wanted to do, and they did it from the word go.
Yeah, they did. I mean, it was run the football, add an extra tight end to the field, and
jump over people.
Yeah, let's establish the run and sort of let that be the identity for at least this game. And I would say, Jay, you can pick on the defense for the first half performance, but it wasn't really. I know you say you didn't get to watch it. It wasn't really in the running game that they were struggling. It was actually a lot of big plays in the passing game. Several defensive pass interferences on plays down the field, and really Chris Reynolds just finding a way to make some really impressive passes. And as the game went on, second half, they sort of shut that down, got more pressure on him, forced him into some mistakes, and were able to actually take advantage of them. So a little bit different in how it happened defensively in the first half, than maybe what you got listening to it on the radio. But I think, like Pearson said, that is a valid thing to say about the offense in general if you want to kind of talk big picture. But I don't know, Monday after what we saw on Saturday, it's not quite as timely, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, defensively, there were a couple. I mean, Charlotte scored on the first couple drives, which is obviously disappointing. They got gashed some. I think some of the things that South Carolina struggled with early, they were able to clean up. I mean, one of the things, and Beamer mentioned this, they were getting pressure in the first half. They were actually a little bit more aggressive on defense even than I anticipated. They were sending pressure early and often. And Reynolds, again, he's a very savvy 6-year guy, and he was able to spin out or just buy a little bit of time. Beamer noted that they weren't rushing to the correct shoulder, and so he was able to spin out a couple times.
Wow, Preston nailed that. You weren't even referencing Shane's thing.
There we go.
Nailed it.
Yeah, so he was able to spin out a couple times. There you go. And look, I mean, one of the drives they had the very questionable Cam Smith PI.
Yeah.
Not that. Look, you should still be able to stop.
It's like Chris Silva territory with him a little bit too, where it's just like his reputation precedes him as being a physical corner, so you just flag.
The ref looks and like, who's that? Oh, 9 yells stir flag.
Yeah,
he broke it up. And DQ Smith had, I believe it's DQ. Y'all correct me if I'm wrong, but he broke up a pass, made a nice play. Probably should have been a pick on either the first or second drive as well, and they ended up going down and scoring, and they cleaned it up. But I mean, Charlotte had for the game. I mean, they had 79 rushing yards,
2.7 yards,
2.7 a carry. So the rushing attack wasn't a problem. And I think, I don't know, for me, it was not like frustrating or surprising to watch because I fully expected that to happen early. Like I knew Charlotte was going to move the ball. I did not think that South Carolina was going to completely shut them down. I think the most disappointing part was not being able to finish a couple of potential sacks early, and then the screen game. Charlotte, quite frankly, just had their way early on the screen game with South Carolina with some of the creative things, and especially on third down or second long, they were able to really exploit them there.
Yeah, that's a really good point. It was death by screens have been a real sticking point, I imagine, for South Carolina fans because the offense seems to have been unable to set them up for like 10 years now, and opposing offenses seem to have a lot of success against Carolina's defense with screens. So that was probably not fun to watch if you're a fan in the stands on Saturday. I do want to come back around to the defense. So Preston and I talked about this a lot in the 10 o'clock hour because I think there is a disparity between the excellent numbers that the defense didn't allow and maybe a little bit of the eye test, especially early. So we'll circle back around to the defensive performance for South Carolina. And Wes, can we get a recap on buy or sell?
We can. I have the accurate results this time.
Good. Yeah. After the Georgia game, Wes threw his whole laptop away just to avoid not having to reveal the buy or sell.
I dug it out though.
We'll see how everybody did on buy or sell after last week.
More of the Extra Point coming up next on 107.5 The Game.
For appliances with Reliances, that's Jeffers McGill.
Come see the entire line of Whirlpool appliances at our new location on 1421 Atlas Road. Whirlpool offers bigger, better, and more efficient appliances. And Jeffers McGill offers the best in customer service and low prices. Jeffers McGill and Whirlpool, your home team.
For appliances with Reliances. That's Jeffers McGill.
I'm here with Jacob Crowder, known to our listeners as the mortgage guru. We're all hearing about mortgage rates right now. Jacob, what's the market telling you?
Now more than ever, it's important to know your mortgage banker. When working in a volatile market, it's important to be well informed and have the ability to move quickly. Working with a local bank gives you access to bank products and superior service. Here at First Palmetto, we have your best interest at heart and have the ability to get the job done. Call me today, 803-719-1005, or email me at jcrowder@firstpalmetto.com.
It's good stuff, Jacob. Tell me more.
We are still seeing a competitive purchase market. Having a strong requalification from a local bank goes a long way with a tight market. With housing supplies still being minimal, we're doing a lot of construction loans. If you're looking to buy land and build on it, or if you're looking to build on land you already have, we're a great resource for construction loans. Call us today to discuss how we can help you. 803-719-1005 or email at jcrowder@firstpalmetto.com.
In times like these, you need an expert. Call the mortgage guru, Jacob Crowder, 803-719-1005.
First Palmetto Bank is an equal housing lender, a member of FDIC, and all loans are subject to approval. My NMLS number is 198432.
It's Hispanic Heritage Month. Are you ready for some de tradiciones, de pasión? And this rivalry are ready to take over. The Cowboys and the Giants are ready for this NFC East Fiesta del Fútbol. Ready for football, Cowboys, Giants, tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern on ABC.
Tonight at 8 on ABC Columbia, Channel 25.
Hi, I'm ABC Columbia Sports Director Mike Gillespie. Join us for ABC Columbia News following tonight's game. I'll have recaps of Carolina and Clemson's games from this past weekend. And if you want more football, tune into Friday Night Fever to see the best high school football highlights in the Midlands. And on Saturdays, it's Gamecocks Saturday night. Tune in to see the highlights of all the day's big action in college football. So if you like football, we got you covered. It's ABC Columbia, Channel 25.
If you're dealing with injuries or pain, count on the experts at Lexington Orthopedics and Sports Medicine to get you moving again. Our highly specialized physicians offer comprehensive care for patients at 5 convenient locations throughout the Midlands. Whether you're an athlete looking to return to your sport after injury or someone who needs help for knee, hip, elbow, shoulder, or foot pain, we're here for you. Our expert team can get you better sooner. Visit lexmed.com/ortho to learn more.
Schroeder's Towing wants to remind you that the game isn't over, even after the final whistle.
Yeah, how about that turnover?
Oh, yeah.
Or not turning over. I guess it's a bad time to bring up the false start.
Schroeder's Towing always has your back, every day and every game day. When the final whistle blows, we're ready to tow. The fastest response comes from the most trusted and reliable name in towing. Schroeder's Towing, the best hookers in town.
Schroeder's Towing, the best and fastest hookers in town.
Sponsored by Progressive Insurance. If you're a renter, make sure you're protected. Renter's insurance includes options that cover stolen property, personal injury, and living expenses if your place is damaged. Quote Renter's Insurance at Progressive.com.
It's the Gamecock Central Takeover Hour, presented by Firehouse Subs, founded by firemen with Pearson Fowler, Chris Clark, and Wes Mitchell on the home of the Gamecocks, 107.5 The Game.
11:36 Monday morning, and welcome back into the Gamecock Central Takeover Hour. Pearson, Wes, Preston, Chris, here with you in the Herndon Chevy Studios of 107.5 The Game, talking Carolina and Charlotte. Dig into the disparity, in my opinion, at least, between the eye test of the defense and some very impressive numbers that they didn't give up against a Charlotte team that, as bad as they are defensively, has been a pretty decent team offensively when they've had their starting quarterback, Chris Reynolds, which they did on Saturday. But before we get into that, one of the other great sponsors of the Gamecock Central Takeover Hour are the folks at Gamecock Moving, who can help moving not be as much of a nightmare as it normally is.
Yeah, give those guys a shout, 803-814-3569. If you don't like to talk on the phone, you can just text them or go online, GamecockMoving.com. They have residential and commercial moving services, licensed, bonded, and insured. They're able to help you move anywhere in the state of South Carolina, or they can assist if you're moving out of state. They offer wire-to-wire services, packing, moving, unpacking if you want. They are locally owned and operated since 2017, and they have discounts for Prisma Health employees, any college students, not just USC, all active duty military personnel, or what you really need to know is just tell them that you heard about them right here on the GC Takeover Hour on 107.5. They'll give you a discount for that as well. They treat their belongings as if they were their own. All their guys are trained W-2 employees. They have a 2-hour minimum on all moves. But like I said before, if you are moving, they can do as little or as much as you want. So they will quite literally pack up your entire house, put it on a truck gently, and then unpack it at your new home. GamecockMoving.com.
Very good. All right, so guys, the defensive performance. We had a caller in the last segment talking about Carolina getting pushed around on the line of scrimmage. And Chris, you mentioned that the numbers wouldn't indicate that. 2.7 yards a carry. Y'all are both looking confused right now. I have to say, I kind of felt like I agreed with the caller. It felt like Charlotte was getting a little bit of push up front early in that game. And when I look, y'all are right that obviously most of the damage was coming in the passing game, but here are Charlotte's 2 scoring drives. They had a 5-yard run on a 2nd and 6. They had a 14-yard run on a 3rd and 1. They had a 3-yard run on a 1st and goal from the 6. In the next drive, they had a 7-yard run on 2nd and 10. They had a 3-yard run on 1st and 10. There was, in the third possession, because they only had 3 possessions in the first half, a 10-yard run on 1st and 10, a 1-yard run on 2nd and 10, an 8-yard run on 1st and 10, a 3-yard run on 2nd and 2, a 3-yard run on 1st and 10. So they had success at times. It's not like Carolina was getting whooped, but it felt like there was a little bit more push than there should have been. And maybe I was looking for it because that's an area where Carolina has struggled so far this season. Like you said, ultimately it didn't matter. You averaged 2.7 yards a carry for the entire game. But I'm guessing by your confused looks, y'all did not have the same experience watching Carolina's defensive front early in that game.
Yeah, I mean, it just didn't feel that way to me. Now, maybe I maybe have a little bias in that I just watched the second half right before I came over here, and they were just completely shutting Charlotte down, at least when it was still first team versus first team. So, yeah, they did give up a few more chunk plays in the running game than you probably would like in the first half. It felt to me more like the big plays were coming in the passing game. They were playing a lot of man coverage and either just getting beat on designs that were to beat man coverage or just getting called by PI. I mean,
4 of them in the game, I think, right?
Yeah, I'm trying to think. I mean, I think Cam had one, Marcellus Dial had one. There was a DQ Smith one, I think, that ended up going for a touchdown anyway. So, there were several in the first half, and it was like they just couldn't quite cover them, honestly. And I think when the pass rush started getting there a little bit better in the second half, that kind of shut that down. But I thought they played the run a lot better in the second half as well. Like I don't know what the totals were in the second half, but it just felt like there were no chunk runs for Charlotte in the second half.
Right. So how do you reconcile that, Chris? Because the number I asked you guys on Friday, if Carolina could give up like 400 yards of offense to Charlotte, but force 3 turnovers, or give up 300 yards and have no turnovers, and we laughed. Both. Well, they did that. 292 total yards for Charlotte. They forced 3 turnovers, and yet Charlotte had their way with South Carolina for most of the first half. They didn't score on the last possession, but even still had a nice, reasonable drive going. 9 plays, 34 yards. South Carolina shut them down in the second half, but a lot of that was due to turnovers. So are you experiencing the same cognitive dissonance as I am, where the numbers for the defense were really impressive, but the eye test did not match that, in my opinion?
I mean, you do have to factor in, okay, the defense is getting turnovers, but it's kind of a dangerous game to play. So, if they didn't have those turnovers, Charlotte would probably move the ball. You can't really do that, I don't think. And I think you factor in, too, that, South Carolina, going back to what Clayton White said last week, teams don't just hand you the ball. So a lot of times when you're getting turnovers, the reason that South Carolina has not gotten as many turnovers this year is because they have not put enough pressure on the opposing offense to force them into bad plays. We did a whole segment on that last week. There are very few plays that you can go back and think of, okay, well, the defensive line did this, you force a bad throw, you end up having an opportunity to pick a ball off. They did more of that. And a lot of it related to pressure. I mean, there was one I'm thinking of off the top of my head is Chris Reynolds he's backing up, throwing off his back foot. He has to rush a throw because I think it was Bam Martin Scott comes on a blitz. He's right in his face. And so he has to rush it, throws it kind of high and behind the receiver. Receiver can't come up with it, and defense gets a pick. That's kind of an earned play for me. That's the same as stopping a guy for a tackle for loss. So I mean, I do think part of it when you look of, they struggled so bad in the first half. I think they struggled for 2 drives. The first 2 drives, that was obviously not good enough. Nobody's happy with that. But I think just how the game played out, they scored on those first 2 drives. They did have their way with Carolina. After that, Carolina had their way with them. And I think ultimately putting it all together is kind of about what I expected. I thought South Carolina would be able to finally get some turnovers and be positive in that column, which they barely were because they had a couple turnovers late, but they were inconsequential. They were able to not really give up much in the run. They were able to force some mistakes for Charlotte, and they gave up some plays, but largely were able to control things.
They gave up 171 yards in the first 2 drives to Charlotte, and then they gave up 121 yards in the next 9 drives.
Stat of the day.
So, yeah, I guess so. Again, like it's good to see a coordinator that can either adjust or a position, just a group that can settle themselves down. I don't know I guess everybody gets the credit for things getting better, but this has also been a trend. Arkansas scored a touchdown on their first 3 drives of the game. Georgia didn't score on their first 3 drives, but it was 3 straight drives, I believe, in the first half. They scored a touchdown. Charlotte started the game by scoring 2 straight long touchdown drives. And these aren't just busted plays on the back end. This is, Preston, when does the thing become a thing?
Good question. Unfortunately, we're not going to find out again for another week or so.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a matter of getting sort of the pressure off you, because the first drive where offensively, if we're going back to offense, the first drive when you don't score a touchdown on the first drive, everybody, here we go again. That's not that's not how football goes.
Yeah.
Like, even if you can have a very successful drive and just sort of stall out sometimes, especially on offense when one person can make a mistake. And again, I've been critical of the offense as much as anybody, but I will give them a pass on that. But you do need to be able to stop people on defense early.
Mm-hmm.
It's interesting. I'm talking myself into this as I'm saying this conversation. You can afford to start slow on offense. You cannot afford to start slow on defense, because a slow start on defense equals points, and then we're behind.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not saying that the offense gets a pass, but sometimes you might need to feel your way around, whatever. But defense, you need to start off stopping them, because every play could be a scoring opportunity.
Well, Wes, this is where the idea of complementary football is interesting. I heard somebody suggest, and I don't remember where I saw this, that part of the defense's improvement in the second half was because the offense was continuing to fire on all cylinders.
Yeah, this, as I said, it may be like one of those Captain Obvious things, but if you think about it, I mean, football, we like to be like, as fans, we might be like, oh, they, just talking about the team, they didn't play well, or they're not playing well. Well, your defense and your offense it might as well be a different sport. Like, they're 2 literally completely different units. And if you start a game slow on offense, but your defense is playing well, you sort of settle into the game, and, nobody's really complaining quite as much. On the other hand, you might start slow on defense, but if your offense is scoring and it's 14-14 at the end of the first quarter, everybody's like, all right, we're playing pretty well. We're hanging in there, when really one side of the ball is not playing very well at all.
Yeah.
However, the thing you can't do is have both of them start slow,
Correct.
Yeah.
and then you're down 21-0.
Right.
And it's like, as I say it, it's like, well, duh. But if you think about it, like, how many games have been like 0-0 at the end of the first quarter?
Oh, they're just feeling each other out.
Like, oh yeah,
defensive struggle, right?
All right. And how many have been, 14-14?
Oh, it's a shootout. Oh, man, they're hot.
Exactly. So the problem with South Carolina has been they've had too many games where it's just been both sides.
Mm-hmm.
But some of that, I don't know that Arkansas was doing anything differently to South Carolina's defense than what they did like the entire game. Like, that was, Georgia sort of scored at will for most of that game. It wasn't, it was a slow start by the defense. That was just kind of what Georgia did to them throughout
and
the
does
contest.
everybody except for Kent State.
Yeah, which is very weird. I did want to throw this stat in there too. Defensively, Charlotte started 7 for 7 on third down conversions against the South Carolina defense, but finished 8 for 14.
Mm-hmm.
So 7 for 7, then 1 for 7.
Or one of the last 7.
Yeah. So I don't think it was just turnovers. like Chris said, the turnovers were forced, which I think is a very different thing than just, oh, that guy made a terrible read or something and throws it right to you. So that it was decidedly different for the defense after the half, I feel like.
Preston, I saw you chuckle. Is that the equivalent of winning the fourth quarter?
No, it's not. It's not. It's really not.
Okay.
I think I'm just a little bit higher on Will Healy and the offensive staff. I just thought they were pitching a great game early.
Yeah.
So I'm just I like when I hear that number, that sounds terrible, but I just think they made some calls that were excellent early in that game.
Yeah. Credit where credit's due, and you got to be doing something right to get all of your first 7 third downs, even if it is a detriment to the defense. It's a credit to the offense, I think, as well. 803-404-6100. Last chance to get your thoughts in on a Reaction Monday. We will also recap buy or sell from Friday coming up next. Also, would like to give you all an opportunity if you want to go see South Carolina take on SC State this Saturday. It is a noon kick. If you want to go and you need some tickets, we have them for you. Call right now, 803-404-6100. Be caller number 6 in the Love Chevy phone line, 803-404-6100, and I'll give you a pair of tickets to go see South Carolina take on SC State this weekend. Good luck.
Call now to win Gamecocks tickets right here. 803-404-6100. Sponsored by Carolina Honda Powerhouse, your source for Honda Power Sports. ATVs, motorcycles, side-by-sides, and generators. From your home of the Gamecocks, 107.5 The Game. More of the Extra Point coming up next on 107.5 The Game.
Zero Res Carpet and Air Duct Cleaning, the most trusted and reviewed cleaning company in town. Take advantage of their fall sale going on now. Get 3 rooms of carpet clean for only $119 when you mention me, Bill Gunner at 107.5 The Game. Easily schedule your cleaning online at ZeroResColumbia.com.
Welcome to Gracie's.
Hi, we're here to watch the game. Got a good table?
No, follow me.
My shoes are actually stuck to the floor.
Come to the table when you get turned loose, and don't order the wings if you ain't got your gallbladder.
Watching the big game should be a pleasure, not a greasy mess. At the Mellow Mushroom, you'll find great wings, pizza, salads, hoagies, burgers, and cold beer in a way cool, non-greasy atmosphere. The Mellow Mushroom Pizza Bakers in the Vista and on Sunset in Lexington.
Here's another remarkable success story from QC Kinetics. This one from Chad, who hurt his knee at the gym one day, and it just kept on hurting for months.
From my high school football and wrestling days, I already had a little bit of damage in there, but this just sent it over the edge.
Chad tried traditional treatments with no improvement when he turned to the non-surgical regenerative treatments at QC Kinetics.
It was really fascinating how they did their work, and the science behind it was very intriguing, and it works. Extracting the cure out of my own body blew my mind. It's like I'm brand new again. It was fantastic.
That's because the QC Kinetics natural biologic treatments use your body's own healing power to restore damaged tissue in your hips, shoulders, back, and knees, providing long-lasting relief.
Now I'm back at the gym. I'm 100% feeling great.
If you're tired of suffering with pain from arthritis or injury, call QC Kinetics now for a free consultation.
Call QC Kinetics, 803-281-6860. That's 803-281-6860. 803-281-6860.
Nature Valley has helped restore access to 10,000 miles of national park trails, and we're on our way to restoring even more because every mile is a new memory. Life happens out there. Nature Valley.
Camden Military Academy. It's probably not what you think. Hear now from a cadet's mom.
Andrew totally failed 7th grade. And when he came to Camden, now he's A and B student. He's doing very well. So for me, as a parent, I will tell you, be open-minded. Check it out yourself. Do your research, because I did mine. I sent a boy to Camden Academy, and I got back a wonderful child with leadership.
To learn more, visit CamdenMilitary.com.
Cliff had a project he had to get done. He was in a hurry because the game was coming on. He put on his shoes, he put on his socks. Then out the door he went to install a mailbox. He was forgetting something he couldn't quite recall. Then it hit him. I have to make a call. He ran in the house, he grabbed his phone. He quickly dialed 811. His lines are marked so he can dig without flaw. It was fast, free, and easy, and it was also the law. Sponsored by South Carolina 811. Aired by SCBA in this station.
Broadcasting live from the Herndon Chevrolet Studios. This is 107.5 The Game. Stop by or shop online today and see why Herndon Chevrolet makes you smile. It's the Gamecock Central Takeover Hour. Presented by Firehouse Subs. Founded by firemen with Pearson Fowler, Chris Clark, and Wes Mitchell. On the home of the Gamecocks. 107.5 The Game.
11:52 Monday morning, and welcome back into the Gamecock Central Takeover Hour. Just a couple minutes left here on a Reaction Monday. Congratulations to Patrick. Won a pair of tickets to go see South Carolina take on SC State this weekend, and want to remind you to listen to 107.5 The Game all football season long for the Carolina Honda Powerhouse Gamecock ticket giveaway. Carolina Honda Powerhouse is your source for Honda Power Sports. That's carolinahonda.com. All right, as we wrap things up here, we play Buy or Sell on Friday, as we do. We have a sponsor for Buy or Sell as well that Wes can tell us about in just a minute. But how'd we do?
Well, let's see. South Carolina will score 6 touchdowns. Everybody sold.
Oh, let's give us a
buzzer. Yeah. Okay. South Carolina has more yardage than Charlotte. Buy. Pearson sold.
I sold.
Yes.
Give yourself the buzzer. Be fair. Yep.
South Carolina has 275 passing yards. I sold. Pearson bought. Preston bought. Chris has no idea if he bought or sold. He sold.
Yeah.
Is that the one I skipped him on?
Yeah.
Yes.
Wait,
it is.
You sold. I bought. Preston
bought.
And Chris
I sold.
Sold. Okay. So that's split down the middle. Wait, I'm 0-3 though.
Yes, you are.
Okay. Oh, that was it? Those are the only
That
three?
was it.
Okay. Cool. Wait, who won? Preston. Good job. No one bought 6 touchdowns. It's not even a lot. Sorry.
It is what it is.
Hey, at least we all kind of stuck with our score predictions. Chris's was close. What was your final score prediction on Central?
40-17.
40-17. Wow.
I wasn't as great, so I think I had them at like 35.
Yeah. I guess I had the highest score prediction of the 4 of us. I thought Carolina would score 45, which they did, and then a few more. So interesting. All right. The sponsor of Buy or Sell
is Kendall Walsh of the Moore Company, an excellent realtor, a good friend of mine. She helped me and my fiance buy a home. She can do the same for you. 803-414-3590. Give her an email, workwithwalsh@gmail.com. You can find her on Twitter or Instagram. That's @workwithwalsh. You may already know Kendall. She used to be Kendall Belk. She worked for the Gamecock Club, a huge Gamecock fan. And again, she can help walk you through this process. It is wild out there right now. I know folks are kind of a little bit wary of the home buying process right now. Just give Kendall a call. She'll help you out, walk you through this process just like she did for me. And I promise you, it'll be okay. 803-414-3590.
All right, very good. So Preston said aggressive shrug. It seems like the 3 of us kind of same thing. Any other like big reactions? It's like any takes that have been burning a hole in your chest since Saturday night?
No, I just my final take is happy for Marshawn Lloyd, and I think we saw what he is capable of, and I think he found a rhythm, which is something I don't know if we've seen him be able to do yet. And we saw all year long several just that was close, or he almost broke that. He almost broke that off. He got tripped up. And we saw him actually be able to kind of finish those runs off on Saturday.
Yeah, related to that, I have a stat question to see what y'all think. See if you can get this right. Marshawn Lloyd, he obviously, like Wes said, he broke a bunch of tackles.
Mm-hmm.
Great game. Anybody have guesses? Number of forced missed tackles, number of yards after contact for Marshawn Lloyd in the game. Any guesses?
Does the hurdle count as a missed tackle?
I hope so.
Or a forced missed tackle? Yeah, I guess
you would think.
How many total yards did he have? Will you give us that?
He had 169 total yards.
Yep, that's right.
I bet 75 of them came after contact on 6 broken tackles.
Preston?
10 broken tackles, 70 yards.
Okay. Wesley?
Is he in
they
trouble?
took some good ones. I'm going to say 12 broken tackles. Probably a little steep, but we'll see. He had a lot of yards before he got touched, but
Over 9,000.
I think they're about right on the yardage. So I'll say 80.
All right. 13 forced missed tackles.
Wow.
For PFF. 104 yards after contact.
And that's a Carolina. First down.
Oh, nobody was happier to see a big Marshawn game than I was.
Chris was so happy.
I was so happy. Just give that man the rock and let him work. He did it on Saturday, albeit against a terrible Charlotte team. We'll see if they can keep that momentum going. Speaking of momentum, that is the end of our momentum here. We'll try to carry it over until tomorrow. Appreciate you guys listening, as always, being a part of the show. The halftime show is coming up next, and we will talk to you tomorrow.
Celebrating our 15th year, and with it comes all